Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. Okay, when Santa makes his deliveries this Christmas, will he trip over all your child's existing toys? It might be time for a pre-Christmas clean out. Here with tips, we welcome professional organizer MaryJo Monroe. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I am in this season. I think a lot of parents can relate. Our kids are very blessed.
Yes.
But sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming.
Yes, a little bit. So fortunately, there are some, I wouldn't say easy, but some straightforward things you can do to help your kids pare down their toys.
True. Okay, let's talk about bringing kids into the equation and talking to them about some of the organizational challenges all that clutter might be creating.
Right, exactly. So what we always advise clients is to don't just go in and tell your child, clean your room.
Right.
Because we want the child to have some buy-in so that they make actual long-term changes. So one way to do this is to ask some questions of your child, like, do you ever wish you had more floor space to spread out and play with your toys? Or do you ever wish it was easier to find your favorite doll? And see what they say.
Okay, and then if you need some more buy-in from that, right, you can actually maybe show them some inspirational photos.
Yeah, so this is where a lot of kids don't even know what the possibilities are for their room. They don't know that their room could be a lot cooler and nicer to be in. So we tell parents, sit down and show your kids some pictures on Instagram or Pinterest and ask them, point out features in the pictures like, hey, do you think that net on the ceiling would work great for your stuffed animals? Or look how they have this wire basket and they have all the Nerf guns, upright in it. Would you want that in your room?
Yeah, kind of bringing their own existing things into the equation. Maybe they can envision it easier that way.
Right, exactly. We could even say, like, you take your kids on what we call a field trip to the Container Store, walk down the aisles, show them like the colorful bins and, point out like we could organize your Barbies and all their little accessories in these. And kids might get really excited about organizing.
Yeah, okay. So you might need to set aside some time, right? Because this might be emotionally exhausting for some kiddos, depending on how much you have to declutter.
Yeah, absolutely. So we tell people that kids usually only have stamina for organizing for about 2 hours max, and then they burn out.
That's a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And so, as a parent, you're probably going to want to set aside a few afternoons for your child to do this. Trying to do it all in one marathon sprint just means that your child is probably not going to finish, and then they will hate organizing even more in the future.
Right. They might think that the finish line is near, and you're going to go, oh, no, we have so much more to do. And then they're going to go, no way, I'm not doing that again.
And then you'll have a temper tantrum on your hands.
Yes. Yep. Okay. We're going to set ourselves up for success.
Right.
Okay. Talk about making an agreement with the kids beforehand about where things might end up. Maybe they could have a new home somewhere where someone could still appreciate their discarded toys.
Yeah, you can reassure kids that your toys are not going to end up in the landfill or in the trash. Some kids are really motivated by generosity, so you can tell them about a children's charity, with kids who don't have a lot of toys might want them. Some kids are more motivated by financial incentives. So you could offer to sell their toys as a lump sum on Marketplace and let them keep the money from whichever their toy sells. And then sometimes you can just be super targeted and think of if there's a younger cousin or like a little kid down the street and say like, hey, do you think cousin Emma would want some of these cast off toys that you don't want?
Those are great ways to make new connections too. I'm thinking about some things my kids have inherited from friends and family and things we've been excited to pass along. Like, we've outgrown this, but I'm so excited for this younger person in our family to enjoy it. And then we can still see it and see their joy experiencing it too.
Exactly. The kid knows that their toy is being loved and well taken care of.
Okay, so once you've got that destination sorted out, that kind of helps you with the language of the process.
Right. So then when you're sitting there on the floor sorting Barbies with your child, you can say, okay, do you want to keep this Barbie or should we pass it on to cousin Emma?
Yeah.
That helps kind of make it a little bit more clear.
It's this or that, right? It's not like an endless plethora of possibilities.
Right, exactly.
Okay, and you might need to do a pre-sort if it's a ton of stuff.
Yeah, so sometimes kids get really overwhelmed and surprised by the state of their room.
Yeah,
and so what we tell parents is to maybe do a pre-sort of their items in the room without the child present first. So what this means is you go in as a parent and you spend 30 minutes and you make a pile of, like all the doll stuff, all the books, all the board games, and then you can bring your child in and have them visit each pile and pick out their favorite board games, their favorite dolls, and then that way your child is picking from, their favorite of maybe 10 items instead of like going through each item one at a time, which can feel really overwhelming.
So much easier to mentally navigate, and even putting like a pile of those things in another space that might be a little bit quieter and cleaner to go through.
Yeah, and you know, this tip works well for adults too.
Yeah.
If the child is still even overwhelmed, even after you've done the pre-sort, is to take those pre-sorted items out to a more calm room, like the living room, set them up on the coffee table and have your child choose there.
Yeah, check one box at a time.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, I mean, especially I think for younger kiddos, you might just have to step in and be the parent and say, we can't have 35 Barbies in this house. It's just not possible.
Yeah, I was going to use the example of 75 stuffed animals, but yeah, 35 Barbies, I've seen that too. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you've tried all the hand holding and the pre-sorting and your child still wants to keep just too much stuff it's not going to fit. And so I think it's totally fine to just step in and say, like, you know what, just can't keep all these, you know, whatevers. You can pick 25 of your favorite stuffed animals. The rest we're going to take to Northwest Children's Outreach. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you as the parent are responsible for, you know, the home, the cleanliness, the safety of your child in their room, and sometimes you just have to make those hard decisions.
Executive decision every once in a while.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing. This is really great stuff, especially this time of year.
Yes, yes.
We're going to get it done.
About a week before Christmas to get it done.
Perfect. Okay, we'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.